don't feel like it's that weird to have some really crazy unrealistic fantasy for your life, I want to live in a van and I want to travel the country and I want to just like buy antiques while living in a van with dogs. Maybe you want to like backpack through the Swiss Alps with a group of nomads doing nothing but knitting scarves out of alpaca fur. But I like my fantasy. I thought that maybe it would be a good idea before diving into homelessness to maybe like test out the waters a little bit by renting an RV and just see if it was even like a realistic possibility for my life. I'm gonna take you guys with me on this little journey because I rented an RV. I did nothing but drive and shop for antiques at little antique shops along the way. Well, the whole idea of living in a van is to just like simplify. You don't take a lot of stuff, you're living in a van. However, I want you guys to look at all of the stuff that I just felt like I needed to bring. Like you'd think I was never going home. The whole car was full, packed to the roof with stuff that I felt like I needed. I did bring something that I absolutely knew I needed. Look who I'm bringing. Oh, Durian, come here. So I have one blind dog and one really hairy dog. I have to have my dogs. My dogs are ridiculous. One of them is totally blind. The other one needs a haircut so bad. If I were gonna live in a van, they needed to come with me. So I need to see what it feels like to live in an RV with these two little pups. All right, I'm gonna go get the RV. So you guys just stay here, okay? Stay. We get the RV and we just start driving. And you guys, the dogs are like, what is going on? Because I don't know if you've ever been in an RV when it's driving down the highway, like everything is rattling. It literally sounds like the world is crashing down around you. But I decide to make my first stop because I see this antique shop on the side of the road. So it's perfect. I pull over, get out of the RV, turn on the flashers. There's nowhere to park this giant boat on wheels, so I just kind of leave it on the side of the road. Thankfully, that was okay. But I go inside and I end up finding some really, really amazing things. The first thing I found, and some of you guys know I love beer signs. I found this beer sign and it was only $34. This one is not super valuable. There's nothing really incredible about this, but it was only $34, which was such a great price. I couldn't pass it up. I felt like it was pretty perfect for this trip because look at these folks. These are just like cowboys in the wilderness, and I'm like, you know what? I am a cowboy in the wilderness this week. I may not have a horse, but I have a freaking RV and a couple of dogs. The next thing I find is absolutely incredible. I've actually never found anything by this artist before, so it was really great to find something like this at some random antique shop in the middle of the country. But I was excited because they didn't want a lot of money for this, and it's in really, really good condition, you guys. I can't find any damage. There's no chips, there's no cracks, and it's really beautiful. This is from artist Alfredo Barbini, who was born in Venice in 1912, and he basically dedicated his entire life to making some of the most incredible art glass sculptures and vases that you're ever going to see. He finally started his own firm in the 1950s, and he unfortunately died in 2007, but a lot of his work is really incredible, and it's easy to spot. It's all signed Murano, and then it has his name, Barbini, right here on the top. So this is one of his pieces. It's really, really incredible to find something like this, and the detailing on this is really, really amazing. I actually really love the leaves, and they have a lot of the gold flake detailing on the inside. Here's the real problem. I have a giant Coors Light sign, and then I have this glass vase. Where am I gonna put this? I'm living in an RV. Where does this stuff go? And so I get to the first campsite for the night. This is nice. Everything is gonna just be okay. I set up everything. The bed is made. I've got like, you know, my suitcase is unpacked. My favorite thing in the evening is to take a super long hot shower. And you can't do that in an RV. You guys, you can take like a 10-second shower because these tanks get full and then you have to empty them out. I can't do this, and it's just day one. I have a giant Coors Light sign. I can't take my shower. The dogs are having mild heart attacks. This is just not going well. So the next day, I hit up the next place. There's some really cool stuff here. They've got amazing vintage phones. Unfortunately, these phones, this one here is the Bell Princess telephone, and this has the touch tone instead of the rotary dial. And this particular one is not that valuable. It goes for about what they're asking for it. You always want to look up the Bell Princess telephones. They have another really amazing wall mount phone, but they want an astronomical amount for that, so I'm gonna have to leave that here. But you guys, this trip was not wasted time because they had this amazing antique Chinese opium lamp. This thing is amazing. Now, you can actually find contemporary reproductions of these and you're gonna be able to tell the difference. Maybe they're gonna be made out of brass or there's not as much detailing to them. This particular one is incredible. It has all open work on it, and anytime you can find these open work Chinese antique opium lanterns, these things can go for a lot of money. This is the open work here, you guys. So everything comes apart. It's multiple pieces. If you could only find antiques that are that size all day, every day, I think you'd be fine, right? Like, you could stuff that in some socks and put it in your sock drawer. You can't find a place to put a Coors Light sign that you never needed in the first place, but you bought it because you wanted it and you're a psycho. So I don't know if you guys saw last week's video, but it was all about vintage kitchen items. And I ended up finding this amazing vintage Pyrex percolator. I thought, you know, instead of bringing my espresso machine to live in a RV, why don't I take this percolator and try it for the first time ever? I turned on the stove. Apparently, for safety reasons, the RV stove is a very low burn. It's like a simmer. The smallest flame you've ever seen in your life. Can we talk about how long it took? 45 minutes. Then there's another 10 minutes of percolating that needs to happen. It finally does percolate. Like, it finally percolates and I pour the coffee and it's good. Like, I get why people like this. We're ready to start the next day. I stopped at the next antique shop on the way. They had some really cool stuff. They had these really amazing Moroccan bottles that I was obsessed with. Really incredible cobalt blue glass with really beautiful metal detailing to them. Now, these things aren't that valuable. They only go for like 50, 60 bucks and they wanted $45 for them. So that's kind of right in the price range of where these things are gonna go. So I obviously couldn't buy them. But if you can find these at garage sales or thrift stores, these are things you should grab because people will buy these very quickly. They're beautiful, but you've got to be able to get them for the right price. The next thing that I found were these amazing nautical items. Apparently, the people in this booth loved these nautical antiques, and these things were really, really amazing. But he had this really incredible antique ship's compass. Some of the ones that you're gonna find of these are just so big, they're difficult to even manage. This is an amazing size, and what's really cool about this is, look right here, when you open this side door, you can light a little oil lantern inside that's gonna illuminate the compass on the inside so that if you were sailing at night, you could still see what direction you were going. I absolutely love this. They're asking more than what I could probably even sell this for, honestly, but it's so cool. I just wanted to show that to you guys. But as I was going through some of these cases, they did have this incredible vintage basket. This booth was having a really great sale and it had a price tag of $95, which is still a really good price for a basket like this, but I ended up getting this for $60. And this is a vintage macaw Northwest Coast basket. It's very hard to find stuff like this in a good size. And what's really cool about these, the majority of them are gonna have a really beautiful pictorial design to them. And this may have at one point had like really great detailing of a story or a picture on it, which you can no longer see, but there is definitely some detailing on there that you can see that's faded. And that's kind of what happens, is they fade and you can no longer see what the detailing was on this. This is still a really beautiful piece, and to get this for $60 is such a good deal. I will say one of the really cool things about being in an RV and just driving around and also working and finding cool things is you can kind of stop anywhere, right? You can end up in some beautiful place and just like have an amazing day. And so that's what happened. I'm driving and I see this amazing view of the ocean. So of course I decide to pull over and look at this, you guys. This almost makes it worth waiting an hour for my coffee this morning and only being able to shower for 43 seconds. Not quite, but it's a good view. It's a good view, I'll give it that. And the last place that I stopped on this trip, you guys, had also some amazing things. What I ended up grabbing from this antique shop was this incredible lamp. This was an antique Chinese cloisonne lamp, and they wanted $100 for that. Now, I know that seems like a lot for a lamp, you guys, but so much of this stuff that is reproductions, it's not good quality, and that's not gonna be worth as much. If you can find something like this in good condition, it's incredibly rare. Cloisonne is really, really common, right? Like, you're gonna find vintage cloisonne all the time, and a lot of it is gonna be contemporary reproductions. Now, some of the things that you're gonna wanna look for are air bubbles. Some of the higher quality vintage cloisonne, you're not gonna see as many air bubbles in the enamel. So the way that this is made is there's a brass base, and then the enamel cloisonne goes over the brass base. And all of these details are separated by a brass wall that's completely handmade. And so all of these details, you've got like blue enamel and then the green enamel, and then there's small little brass walls that kind of separate all of this enamel. It almost looks like it's painted, which is what you want. So those are the things that I found, you guys. I wanted to share with you some of my best finds on this trip. Overall, I would give living in an RV like 2 stars out of 10. I have to just accept the fact that my dreams have been dashed against the rocks, and I am now floating aimlessly in a universe of no hopes or dreams. I need espresso and long showers. I'm sorry, I can't live in a van. But I do want to hear what your guys' ridiculous fantasies are for your life. Things that'll probably never happen, and probably for the better. Hiking through the Swiss Alps, or starting a romantic novel writing career in a French chateau. Let me know in the comment section below what your romantic lifestyle fantasy choice is. I'm super excited to read your guys' responses. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do it now so you don't miss future episodes. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.